What's going on, guys? Rock Lee AC here, giving you guys a deck profile on Water Lightning Naruto CCG. This is the deck profile that I ran last week at Mindsight Gaming's Win-A-Box for the Avengers Wrath box for first place. This was on the 18th of Saturday. I think we had about 11 players, 12 players. Started snowing really bad in the morning and afternoon, but kind of cleared up later in the day. But regardless, still happy with the turnout. I know a lot of people couldn't make it because of the change in between Friday and Saturday. But we still got people from both Chicago and Portage to swing down and show support. So really cool. I guess I'll just quickly start with a tournament report. We had 4 rounds and a top 4. First round pairings, I went up against David Lopez, which is Ruben's brother. I thought he was going to run a water deck again because that's what he ran for the last 2 events, but he switched up and ran a BR Flip variant deck with Daedara. Basically, everybody knows BR Flip. You get Battle Wards back to your hand and all that stuff, and you can swap out cards from your hand to your Battle Wards. So that's nothing new. But then he played the Daedara. It was an older Daedara that I never played against. This was right before we played the Naruto game. Basically, you had coins on it, and then you could like damage ninjas. And there's a jutsu that he played that basically like, could clear out 2 ninjas in a team. So that one kind of caught me off guard. I didn't have enough negation for that, and he got me in both games. Round 2, I went against Glenn, another native of Portage. He was playing his signature Determination deck. He wasn't able to get his combos out, and I was able to rush him and out jutsu him because with water you're discarding your opponent's chakra area, so can't really play jutsus. So I had enough field presence to overpower his effects. Round 3, I went against Eric from Chicago. He was playing females. Similar version of mine that I ran at the Portage Win a Case event, so I already knew how to play against females. So as long as I'm making the right moves, not discarding, my main female ninjas, and trying to negate certain missions and stuff. So I was able to win both matches. A lot of the good cards that I played were like Dehydration, basically to negate a lot of people's effects. It stopped Shizune Tauntaun Platoon from coming out. In round 4, I went against Joey, who was also playing females. It was actually Zeke's build that Kayana used to get her top 8 from the Portage Case event about a month and a half ago. I think I had a couple tweaks here or there, but nonetheless, he played it pretty well. I won the first game, and the second game was just such a stall out because we really didn't get our answers till like turn 8 or 9. And then eventually he was able to out-jutsu me with a jutsu exchange. So he got me in that one for game 2, so it was pretty much time, so that was a tied. I went 2-1-1. I managed to squeeze in top 4. Top 4 went against Ruben. He was playing No Hand Water. I know, still haven't beat No Hand Water. I know I'm bad, but I literally haven't played against that deck enough for me to kind of maneuver around, so I decided to go with water because you're discarding, cards out of your opponent's shock area, key cards. In the mirror match, I knew I was going to go against Ruben anyways, in some type of form, whether that be Swiss or the top tables. So I needed to counter his deck, basically. So, there are a lot of chakra killing cards to kill his ambush ninjas. But, as long as he had Sasuke out and answers, and, he was able to pretty much clear the field. So, No Hand Water, get him next time. That was my second time playing against him in a big event, or a larger event, with the case event being the first, and then this one being the next quote-unquote larger event. So yeah, I lost to that. Joey lost to Ruben's brother David in the top, and then Ruben took first for that. But yeah, we had a lot of raffles. I'm sure I'm going to post up the vlog video soon after this video goes up. But you'll see pretty much how it went throughout the day. We were giving out lots of raffles. We gave out free pizza. Everybody was having a good time. They got a lot of cards, extra cards, booster packs, and all that. So Next event will probably be our 3 vs 3 event. Look out for that. And then another event at Mindsight Gaming. We might do like a cash tournament type of thing. So stay tuned for that. But right now, go ahead with the deck profile, and I'll explain the choices. So I ran Lightning Water. I wanted to be aggressive, both in discarding my opponent's chakra area and kind of overpowering them with effects. So I kind of went with Lightning, which could generate chakra, and Water, which could discard chakra. So you're able to supposedly outjutsu your opponent. So let's start off with the 0 drops. I ran 3 Hotaru, one of the best ninjas in the game. Female, 2 mental power, growth. She could either draw a card or get a growth coin on her. Next, I ran 3 Jirobo. Jirobo is also a beefy ninja. He's great when he gets reinforced to state 2. Now that Sasuke is limited to 1, you don't see a lot of ninjas that are close to the 4 or 5 combat powers, so hitting him on early turn to swing is really good. Next, 3 Kisuke, chump blocker. If I'm going against like a mental power deck with like Shika Ino or something like that, or Shika and his mom, then he could stall, or if I just draw bad, hopefully Kisuke could lock my opponents out from being aggro. And then 2 Kashinas. She was really good. I just think with her in the format, it just really enhances a lot of like Jitsu interaction, just because you get so much chakra. You drop her on turn 0, turn 1 you growth her, and then you get like 5 chakra. It's just crazy. Next, 1 drops, 2 Korean. She really helps against really anybody who wants to be aggro. I mean, you're discarding your opponent's chakra area, and you're still able to trigger Corinne's effect, because they're always going to have a discard pile, basically. So you can just chump block your head ninja and always heal. So she was very, she was a problem card for a lot of people. 1 Kitamaro, state 1. State 2, broken, mastery and all that stuff, so gotta have them if you're wanting water. 1 Inkfish, could bump them up to 2, but I just really had no space in this deck. There's certain cards you can probably take out depending on your play style, but free put and play. I run cards like Dango, so it just naturally synergizes with it, and being able to pay 3 to draw a card and then drop another ninja for early game rush is really powerful. I did that pretty much almost every other game. 2 drops, KNS, limited to 1. Still good. It's lightning, draws a card, 4 mental power. Can't argue with that. 1 Pain Narakapath. This card really helped. I usually include him in a lot of my decks. He's very techy. Just because of him and Heretical Icon, and with Karen out, you're basically just healing and waiting to like mid to late game where you could just wipe out your opponent. You could bring him back out again with Heretical Icon and stuff, so he's very good. And then more importantly, during your mission phase, if my turn marker is even, your opponent cannot play missions or activate effects with an odd enters cost, so it really prevents your opponent from being aggressive, not playing Warhawks on certain turns and all that stuff. So very powerful. I like him as a 1-of. You can sacrifice your Inkfish and stuff, so not too bad. Next is 1 Yoroi. He's limited to 1 for a reason. When he's sent out attack, you can select one of your opponent's ninjas, and then during this turn and next turn, when that ninja is sent out to battle, you can discard up to 2 of their chakra. So again, it's a chakra lock deck. You're always constantly putting pressure on your opponent's chakra area, so that you could either psych them out, think that you're going to have a big jitsu, or they just pretty much can't use a jitsu. You're going to be healing your ninjas anyways with Karen and Narakapath, so you can just swing out and then heal next turn, or during EOJ or whatever. So he puts a lot of pressure on your opponent. He was good. He was good enough for your opponent to think twice about attacking. 3 drops, Orochimaru Childhood. He was really good for just basically hand control, chakra control also. 2 mental power. When your opponent plays a mission card, any hand cost for that mission is discarded. And when your opponent plays a permanent mission card, that mission is discarded when it leaves play. So very powerful. Usually people charge for ambush ninjas or just to get chakra. This card's basically like, just only get 1 chakra. and he could use early game jutsus. 4 drops, 3 Sasuke OV. I know I maximized him. You could probably cut him down to 2. I just wanted to make sure I saw him in play because he was a very, very important ninja in this deck. He has growth. You could discard X to your chakra to discard X to your opponent's chakra area. If I know that they don't have response or anything like that, then you could like use like Chidori Stream or something, or some really powerful jutsu so that you could basically chain over them and stuff. So he's really powerful. Again, you could probably come down to, I just wanted to make sure I see him. He's a hand cost anyway, so he's really strong. And then I also ran 1 Killer Bee. Teched him in there just because it's lightning, and you can move 1 card from a discard pile to this shock area. So if there's a lot of my ambush ninjas that my opponent got rid of, or mirror matches with like mono water, if they're also discarding your chakra, and like they discard your Sasuke, then you could pretty much put them back in play. And then if you have 8 or more chakra, when this ninja wins any battle awards during this turn, you win 1 battle award. Never really happened, but there were times where I would still generate a lot of chakra because of him. And then you could always go to state 2, which unfortunately I didn't have during the tournament. 5 drops, 2 Naruto, Tail Beast form. He's always a good lightning ninja. He basically pops out, you know, those really annoying ninjas, Chojis, you know, childhood, all like the pain ninjas effects, true ally stuff. I mean, for paying XX, you give 2 damage to target ninja with entry cost of X. So, you know, get rid of the problem ninja, get rid of Kiba, Wild Fang, you know, all these cards that really stop you from doing what you need to do. And in this deck, you can generate a good amount of chakra. I'd probably say by turn 5, you could at least have like 8 to 10 chakra, so you could pop a ninja easily with this card. And your opponent usually fears it because it's really good. And then 6 drops, I ran 1 second Hokage, mostly because of the mastery. I needed a powerful effect. And then also during my turn, during my mission, I could move 1 card from a discard pile to my chakra area, or 1 mission card from my discard pile to my hand. This is great because it allowed me to use stuff like dehydration again, if I needed to negate like another Hokage. Or basically just get chakra. So him, Killer Bee, you know, all that triggers with my Tail Beast Naruto to do all these effects. I might have bumped him up to 2, depending. I just couldn't find another reliable 6 drop. And then I also ran Kabuto from set 27. He's basically a combo card. He has 5 mental power. You remove 1 ninja you control from the game, so like an Inkfish or like a dead card like a injured Hotaru or something like that. Put in play 1 ninja from a discard pile. So if my opponent's, you know, again, I was trying to base my deck to counter no hand water in a way. If he was going to discard my chakra, he'll discard like my ninjas. If I charged him early, I could still get him back with Kabuto. If like a Naruto gets sent there or something like that. So he was there to basically bring him back alive, but I mean, it was okay. He's much better in like a combo centric deck with like Guido art or something like that. So, but love the art. Pulled him in I forgot where, but yeah, good card. Don't run the 4th Hokage. I did test him. It was just a hefty cost with 2 lightning. I may put him back or whatever, depending. But I didn't have enough jutsus to synergize with him. Like I don't run Rasengan or anything like that, but being able to injure a ninja is still very powerful for, you know, 2 drop, losing 2 cards. But didn't want to risk that. I wanted to make sure I had a hand. And with lightning and water, you're not really drawing cards compared to like earth and wind, where you have effects that could constantly draw you cards. Let's go on with the missions. 3 Dongos. I wanted to maximize on this just because I wanted to make sure I had enough chakra to out jutsu my opponent. So you target 1 ninja, you draw 1 card, then move up to 3 cards from discard pile to my chakra area, and then that target gets +1/+1 during the turn. You know, it's a nice easy pump. You draw a card and you get chakra back from your discard pile. Next, 3 Monster Research. you know, that's self-explanatory. Two Frenches from Saro. Solid card for water. Look at the top 3 cards from your deck. Move one to your hand, one to your chakra, and one to my discard pile. So again, I can set up my discard pile later, or set up my ambush ninjas, and you know, get whatever card I need. And then also during the mission phase, if this card is my shock area, I can remove this card from the and another card from the game. In that case, discard any in-play non-ninja card. I guess this card can chain a dehydration. I dehydrated Sasuke, Ruben's Sasuke on turn 5, but then he chained with Friendships from Sorrow to negate dehydration, which was basically my answer to Sasuke. You know, I was able to dehy him, but yeah, very very powerful card. It's a good board control card, and it's just overall solid setup card. Next, 2 dehydrations, probably the MVP card of my deck. I didn't run Calm Strength because it was just Earth. Water at least has, you know, the elements that I need. I could counter permanent, put an Ambush Ninja in my shock area, so it's not a waste. But yeah, it's basically like a Calm Strength. You attach to the target, and the effect text of the target is negated. And then also, when your opponent draws 1 or more cards due to an effect, you draw 1 card. So something like, you know, Childhood, or effects that like do multiple stuff. If you're going like against like a Revitalize or something, then you could like trigger that and draw a card. But very very good deck, very good card in the deck. I'd definitely recommend if you're playing some sort of water to main deck dehydration, because there's so many effects out there that you don't want your opponent to hit. Again, I stopped a Shizune Tauntaun platoon from going in. And Tamari Mindsight if you wanted to, but yeah, it's just way too good to not run any type of effect negate. Also, speaking of negate, next target, it's a mission counter. It's permanent during the mission phase. You can move this card to my shock area. In that case, negate and discard 1 mission card being played, or discard 1 and play client. So depending on what my opponent was running, there's some clients out there that are legal now. I think it's Anima or something like that for those fire lightning decks, and then there's like Futaba, and you know, and any crazy client, Toby if they're running like, you know, Void or something. But it's a very good card that could counter, and you know, goes to your shock area. It's a good card because you need mission negate. 1 Threat of the Tail Beast. This card was kind of underwhelming just because I built my deck around so much chakra and killing that it naturally outperformed this card. It's limited to 1 because it's very good. I mean, you discard up to 3 cards from opponent's shock area, then you move up to the same amount of cards from discard pile to shock area. So they're losing 3, you're gaining 4, 5 basically because of this card hand cost, and then 3 cards from a discard pile. So I can see why it's limited to 1, but it really didn't do too much for me. Like if anything, I was already discarding cards for my opponent's shocker anyways. And then 1 Uncle's Memory, just because it's water lightning, limited to 1. You can move 3 cards, combo cards, jutsus, whatever you had to charge early, back to your hand. And this card was very important to get like my heavy jutsus back. Speaking of jutsus, onto the jutsus now. Ran 3 Earth Domes, Prisons, super good card. I mean, this is one of Water's best jutsus, I think. Especially if you use it with Jirobo, you discard 2 your opponent's shock area, then move up to 2 cards from discard pile to your shock area. And then Expert Jirobo. If your opponent has 3 or less chakra, draw a card. Use this almost every single game. Cheap cost. Your opponent doesn't think that you're going to have like a crazy jutsu, so at the expense of losing 2, you know, it's great for early game, late game. If your opponent has a lot, it doesn't really matter, but that extra draw is very helpful. And then the rest are like all one-of cards that are all limited for a reason. Infinite Embrace. Still think this card should be banned just because it's like such a crazy removal. Yeah, flip a coin, heads, they go to shock area, tails, it goes back to your opponent's hand and you draw 1, so very powerful. Free Bag Genjutsu, another strong card, 3 generic, so you don't have to worry about too much. You're pushing for basically 2 Battle Words. Next, 10,000 Snake Waves, requirement to stay combat attribute, only be used by Orochimaru. Errata there, for the requirements, so that's why I run over Chimaru. On turn 3, every one of your opponent's ninjas with an energy cost of 3 or less, move that to their owner's chakra area. So very broken. I think I hit this on one of the games. I think against Glenn, round 2, and pretty much wiped his field, and couldn't do anything with that. Another field wiper, Chidori Stream. Sasuke plus energy cost 4 or more. That's why I run 3 Sasukes. Every ninja with energy cost less than the user, discard the target. This one kind of messed me up, I think, on against David Lopez or something like that. Yes, because I was discarding a chakra game 2, and then I had enough chakra for Sasuke OV to discard every chakra except for 1. I didn't think he was going to have like some type of prevention, but I played Chidori Stream, and he ran concentration, the jutsu, which basically blankets his whole ninja, his whole team, and field to be protected from my jutsus. So that basically killed my field and left his field untouched, and that pretty much sealed the game because all I had was Sasuke. So it was pretty much a hard counter to Chidori Stream, and I was like, what are the chances of him having 1 jutsu to do anything? And I totally forgot about concentration. It was an older card from back in the day, and yeah, basically protected him from losing all his ninjas. So that was great. And then 1 Hydro Pump, just for that late game killer. I wanted to make sure these jutsus go off just because they're so powerful. Like even if I only had like a couple of those go off, you're locking your opponent out of chakra, and then you're bringing out your solid ninjas for that. So that was the main deck. Let's go ahead and go with the sideboard from here. Again, the sideboard is mostly to counter mono water and like rush decks, because if you get rushed early, you can't survive till that mid-late turn where you're relying on jujutsus and stuff. So let's start off with 2 heart-to-heart communication. Basically, players cannot search for any cards on their deck or put in play ninjas except by deploying them. So this stops a lot of like those broken like search cards, make-out tactics, Chica's decisions, anybody who searches for like jutsus like true allies or whatever, or ninjas. And they can't reinforce, so everybody's pretty much reinforcing nowadays, and No Hand Water also likes to reinforce to those big late game water ninjas, so basically halts them. I don't really have too much put in play except for like Inkfish and stuff, so, and I don't really search my deck, so it's a win-win for that. 2 Hinas, in case you're playing against like Mill or any counter. This is a dehydration. I traded one to one of my buddies, but the 3rd dehydration I would always side in, pretty much against most decks, and it would help tremendously. 1 Moroku, in case I'm not too afraid of put in play effects. Basically, effect text of ninjas are negated during the turn that they're put in play. Players cannot put in play ninja cards except by deploying them. So another very powerful card. Doesn't affect me too much. I don't have too many crazy put in plays. I have more like activated effects that are activated during the turn after. So Zetsu. If you don't know what to sideboard, Zetsu is always a good card because you could basically track a ninja and that ninja's effect text is negated. So there's a lot of generic ninjas out there like Naruto, Sasuke, Tamari, things like that you could just call, and then if your opponent has that, then tough luck. It's a sideboard card for a reason because you don't know what your opponent's playing. So once you find that out, side this in, and whatever ninja that's important to them, like Deidara or Sasuke or whatever, you could basically prevent that till it's gone. Kagiri, another solid sideboard card. During your mission phase, you can select one of your opponent's ninjas or clients. In that case, the effect text that selected ninjas or clients are negated during this turn. So even if you have like Moroku out, you could use Kagiri. or sorry, not Kagiri. If your opponent has Moroku out, you could use Kagiri or Futaba or something like that to negate those clients and easier effects. So very good card. He has Ambush, solid. One Eno playful. It was basically there against like Void, Animal Rush, stuff like that, which I knew one of my buddies Zeke's was going to play because he always usually plays Toads or some form of Rush, and it was just there for in case somebody played Void, which is also a common deck that maybe like one person runs in a tournament. So solid card. Each player cannot put in play one or more than one ninja. Effect text of your opponent's 10 ninjas are negated. And then last random sideboard card is one Overwhelming Hunger. Target one animal ninja, discard a target, then heal the user. I basically put this against Zeke because he was running Toads. I knew he was going to run Toads. So animals. It also helps against like Tauntaun. There are like 2 or 3 female decks out there. Also, just in case anybody plays Tailed Beast, animal cards, just any rush deck, or if there's like a random dog. So it's there for like dependent on the meta. I mean, it's too generic and it discards and heals, so it's an okay card, but really depends. And yeah, that was my sideboard, which again could be swapped out depending on what your meta is like. I included obviously half the cards against No Hand Water because I still want to beat it. And the rest are just overall solid sideboard stuff. And then extra deck, these are just common stuff that I would just reinforce into Kitamaro State 2, Jirobo State 2, I would do that. Fairly common. Kasame and Zetsu. Negate target effect text if it was not put in play during this turn. If that ninja is set out to attack during this turn, its controller discards 2 chakra. It's a nice effect text negation. Naruto and Killer Bee. Never used this, but once the ninja is put in play, place 1 growth coin on that ninja for every 2 battle words your opponent has. Rounded down, so it could be a beefy ninja. Never really needed to use it. Sasuke State 2. Never used it. Kage Naruto, if I felt like rushing, having more ninjas in the battlefield. Naruto Sasuke. Never used it. Dark Sage Mode, Evil Sage Mode, aka Proxy. Used it once. Good card. Still got to own one. Sasuke Orochimaru. I actually used this once against Joey and put his turn marker down to 0, which is hilarious. He couldn't play any missions and use effects and stuff, so very powerful. And then 3 heretical icons for Naraka Path. So yeah, that was basically my deck. I think Lightning Water is pretty solid. It just really depends on your meta. So the reason why I played Water is just to counter Water also, and to use effects that I think would at least get Ruben to think a little bit more about his resources and stuff, just because he knows I'm going to be getting rid of certain key cards and everything. But yeah, this deck is basically, chakra control, Jitsu, overwhelming Jitsu cards and stuff. It was an okay deck. I felt like other decks in the format are obviously a lot better, but the weakness about this deck is obviously lack of power. You could get rushed really early, or your late game you're not really super strong in terms of like your ninja teams and stuff. You're not getting up to like the 14s or 15s with a team or anything. So that's the only reason why you gotta rely on your Jitsus for the late game stuff. But it was solid. I got 3rd place, and game 4, or yeah, that second game against Ruben, I mulled to 4, and I had no 0 drop, no 1 drop. Had a 2 drop and no 3 drop. So after I saw that no 3 drop, I just scooped because that was basically game. So it was rough. I also mulled to 4 in my top 8 match at the case event. So and I missed my 0, 1, and 2 drop for that against Roman, so I'm still salty for that. So haven't had too much luck in the top tables in terms of drawing and stuff, but the other games that I did have were all solid and could have gone either way. So yeah, the next event that we're going to be running is a 3 vs 3 event out in Portage. It might be in mid-December. If not, it'll be pushed back to January, depending on people's availability. But that's basically going to be the next large event. We're trying to decide what the pricing will be for it. But hopefully we see more people out there. We've seen a lot of people who are starting out again come back in, and a lot of people who are showing interest by wanting to build decks and acquire the cards. So keep at it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Me, David Albaron, out in Portage. If you guys want to go to tournaments, again, every Friday here at Mindsight Gaming down in Kenosha, 6 o'clock to 9. We still run that. And Saturdays out in Portage, the Portage, Indiana Library, from 1 o'clock to 4 or 5. So hit us both up. We're still having locals, and we're still doing large tournaments, and we look forward to slowly expand the game back to other people in the community. So thank you guys for watching, and peace out, and see y'all later.